Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on Hollywood's picture-perfect friendships. You know, the ones, the on-screen besties whose chemistry feels so real, you just know they're hanging out every weekend. Well, what if I told you that behind some of the most iconic on-screen bonds are some of Hollywood's most bitter and secret rivalries? That's right, we're diving deep into the ego clashes, the on-set tensions, and the off-screen feuds that were never meant to see the light of day. From romantic comedies to action-packed blockbusters, some of your favorite co-stars couldn't stand each other. So, grab your popcorn, because we're about to expose the secret rivalries hidden behind those dazzling Hollywood smiles. It's about to get juicy. Let's start with a classic that defined a generation, Sex and the City. On screen, Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, and Samantha were the ultimate squaggles, navigating life and love in New York City together. Their friendship was the heart of the show, but off-screen, the story was dramatically different, especially between Sarah Jessica Parker, who played Carrie Bradshaw, and Kim Cattrall, who played the iconic Samantha Jones. For years, rumors of a feud swirled, but both actresses publicly denied them. They insisted they were professional and that the long hours were tough on everyone. However, the cracks started to show. Reports claimed that Parker, as the show's lead and an executive producer, earned significantly more than her co-stars, creating a pay disparity that allegedly fostered resentment, particularly from the tensions simmered for years but finally boiled over publicly when plans for a third movie fell apart. Cattrall made it clear she was done with the role of Samantha, citing a toxic relationship with her. She stated in interviews that they were never really friends, just colleagues. The feud escalated on social media, with very public and pointed exchanges that left no doubt about the bad blood, while the show's reboot, and just like that, comma, went on without Samantha. The absence of that character speaks volumes about a professional relationship that, unlike the on-screen fiction, simply couldn't be salvaged. It's a stark reminder that the friendships we see on TV are just that, a performance. Now let us shift gears from the streets of New York to the sandy dunes of a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I'm talking about Mad Max Fury Road. This film is a masterpiece of action, cinema, lauded for its stunning visuals and intense, non-stop pace. At the center of it all were Tom Hardy as Max and Charlize Theron as the formidable. Their characters eventually form a reluctant, powerful alliance off-screen. However, their relationship was anything but allied. Both stars have since openly admitted to clashing intensely during the grueling shoot in the Namibian desert. The harsh conditions, long hours, and the pressure of a massive production created a pressure cooker environment. Charlize Theron described the on-set atmosphere as being in survival mode. She explained that the fear and exhaustion made them put up walls, leading to a complete breakdown in communication. Tom Hardy, known for his intense method acting, also acknowledged his difficult behavior, admitting he was in over his head in many ways. The tension was so palpable that other crew members felt it. It wasn't about a personal dislike, but more a clash of two very strong-willed, dedicated actors pushing themselves to the limit for their craft. Thankfully, their story has a better ending. Years later, they've both expressed deep respect for one another's work and acknowledged that the on-set friction, while unpleasant, might have actually fueled the raw, desperate energy of their on-screen performances. It's a fascinating case where off-screen conflict may have accidentally created on-screen magic. Next up, a story that feels like it was ripped straight from a high school drama club. Let's talk about The Notebook. This film is the gold standard for modern romance movies. The chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams as Noah and Allie was so electric, it felt like we were watching a real love story unfold. And for a while, they famously dated for several years after the movie, becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved real-life couples. But here's the shocking part. During the actual filming, they reportedly couldn't stand each other. Director Nick Cassavetes revealed a now infamous story from the set. Early in production, Gosling apparently pulled the director aside and asked him to bring in another actress to run lines with off-camera because, in his words, he couldn't do it with her. He felt she wasn't giving him anything to work with. The tension was so high that the director staged an intervention. He put them in a room and let them hash it out. What followed was a massive screaming match, and after they got it all out of their systems, things started to improve. From that point on, their working relationship got better, and that legendary chemistry we all fell in love with began to blossom. It is an incredible story of how initial animosity transformed not only into a spectacular on-screen performance, but also into a genuine, albeit temporary, romance. It just goes to show that sometimes the line between love and hate is thinner than we think, especially under the bright lights of a movie set. Let's move from romance to a fast-paced world of action, and as I'm talking about the original Charlie's Angels TV series. Lucy Liu, Cameron Diaz, and Drew Barrymore were the perfect trio in the movie reboots. But the original 70s show had its own share of behind-the-scenes drama, specifically between Farrah Fawcett, who became an overnight superstar, and the rest of the cast. When Charlie's Angels premiered, it was an instant phenomenon, and Fawcett, with her iconic feathered hair, became its breakout star. Her poster sold millions of copies, and she was suddenly the most famous woman in America. This sudden, massive spike in individual fame reportedly caused a lot of friction with her Kate Jackson and Jaclyn Smith. The series was supposed to be an ensemble, but the media and the network focused almost exclusively on Farrah. This created an imbalance and a sense of inequality on set. The tension peaked when Fawcett, at the height of her fame, decided to leave the show after just one season to pursue a film career, a move that stunned producers and her cast. Her departure led to a breach of contract lawsuit and a lot of bad feelings. While the show successfully continued, with Cheryl Ladd replacing her, the original trio's dynamic was permanently fractured. Over the years, the women patched things up. But it serves as a classic Hollywood tale of how sudden, unequal fame can destroy a team dynamic from the inside out. And now, for one of the most legendary feuds in Hollywood history, a rivalry that spanned decades and became almost as famous as the actresses themselves, Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Their mutual dislike is the stuff of Hollywood legend. This was not a secret kept quiet on set. It was a public spectacle. The two were reigning queens of the silver screen in the 30s and 40s, constantly competing for the best roles, the most attention, and the ultimate prize, the Academy Award. Their rivalry was fueled by professional jealousy, personal insults, and even disputes over men. They traded barbs in the press for years, with Davis famously saying of Crawford, "She has slept with every male star at MGM except Lassie." The feud reached its absolute peak in 1962 when they were cast a co-star in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. The producers hoped their real-life animosity would translate into electrifying on-screen tension, and they were not disappointed. The set was a battleground. Crawford allegedly put weights in her pockets for a scene where Davis had to drag her just to strain Davis's back. In retaliation, for a scene where Jane kicks Blanche, Davis reportedly made actual contact, and some say Crawford needed stitches. The mind games continued right through to the Oscars, where Davis was nominated for Best Actress, and Crawford, not one to be upstaged, campaigned heavily against Davis and arranged to accept the award on behalf of the absent winner, Anne Bancroft, just to steal the spotlight from her rival one last time. Theirs is the ultimate story of how two of Hollywood's brightest stars let their egos and rivalry define their legacies almost as much as their incredible talent. Finally, let us talk about the franchise that is all about family, the Fast and the Furious. 4 years. The mantra of the series, both on-screen and off, has been family. But that family had a very public and very messy falling out between two of its biggest alpha males, Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Their characters, Dom Toretto and Luke Hobbs, started as adversaries but developed a relationship of mutual respect. Behind the scenes, it was a different story. The feud erupted publicly near the end of filming The Fate of the Furious. Johnson posted an Instagram post calling out some of his male co-stars as candy asses for their unprofessional behavior, and it soon became clear he was referring to Vin Diesel, who was also a producer on the film. Reports surfaced of on-set clashes over creative differences and what Johnson perceived as Johnson felt his time was being wasted, and that differing philosophies on work and filmmaking created a massive rift. The tension was so bad that they reportedly had to film their scenes separately and were kept apart during the promotional tours. Johnson did unappear in F9 and instead starred in the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw. 4 years, the two traded veiled and not-so-veiled jabs in interviews and on social media, with Diesel even publicly pleading for Johnson to return to the franchise for the finale and invitation. Johnson publicly and firmly declined, calling it an example of Diesel's manipulation. While there are recent signs of a truce, This feud shattered the carefully crafted family image of the franchise and showed that even in a billion-dollar blockbuster series, massive egos can and will collide. And there you have it's some of the most shocking and secret rivalries in Hollywood. It's fascinating to see how on-set conflicts can sometimes fuel incredible performances, while other times they can tear apart friendships and even franchises. It just goes to show that the drama isn't always just on the screen. What do you think? Were you surprised by any of these feuds? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look behind the Hollywood curtain, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.